one question left, and I'm glad we saved it for the end. So in high school,
it's not like
you used to always tap your Pepsi can to make sure there were no fizz or anything. Do you still do that?
I still do it. I don't. I definitely have given up a lot of soda since then.
Services measuring cup. Huh, look at here. There's one of those dead bugs. We haven't had our cleaner up here for a long time. Kind of one of those, I don't know what they're called, those potato bugs or something they are. They're that big and they look like armored
tanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Don't get caught up in it. I thought you'd be running over to get your RVR Services
sweatshirt. Well, you stole it from me.
No, it's
Where
just
is
over
it?
on the other side.
It's on the other side? No, I won't do it right now. Sorry.
Don't
wait.
Hey, put that on for the episode. So check back when we come back from this little break. We get into it and to see if Hudson's...
If I remembered it.
Got it. But RVR Services, just real quickly, we don't usually do the commercial right here, but Ryan Van Riper, he does all sorts of cleaning. This is the time to do it.
Spring cleaning.
Because he does like tile and grout. He does...
sidewalks, carpet,
and siding.
You name it, he does it.
Yeah. What is it? RVR-services.com. Yeah. And Hudson will go get the sweatshirt on here shortly, and you'll be able to see it right here. It'll tell you how to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I'll be a walking billboard.
Yeah. So this is our 57th episode, and we're glad that you've joined us. And we have Wisconsinites Weekly. We've got Mazomanie Site-wise. We've got Adventures with Roy from Elroy.
A rhinestone
He
Calroy.
is, I think, 6 months old this week. And then we've got our second part to our interview. This is about his health issues that Jared Brunner has had. And so you'll want to join us for that. That's right in the middle of things. And then we are going to do the Wonder Wheel. And I've got some questions for us, and we'll see who spins it and then what question we pick. That's our 57th episode in a nutshell, just like that.
Yeah, and there'll be all sorts of things in between that we don't know what are going to happen. So, well, I guess the next thing you'll see is us getting all set up, and I'll have my RVR Services sweatshirt on. So
he will.
We'll see you in just a minute.
Hey, this is Bill DeWeese, pro voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. And this is the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast.
Is this 57?
You bet it is.
57.
Big 5-7.
You know, when we first started this, nobody thought that we were going to get past 7, let alone 57.
All the years.
Yep. Drew's here to my right, otherwise known as Dookie Meister. Joe Bob, otherwise known as Joseph, is at
Bart.
Information Central. Hudson is our executive producer, making sure he makes all of the final decisions.
I wouldn't
Even
say
like
that.
I was beforehand, before we got the camera started, we were talking about how warm it was up here because the temperature is about 75 outside.
Temperature
And he's
control.
wearing his RVR Services,
Nice.
as we said in the warm-up. He's wearing that. See, what's the phone number there?
608-516-4699.
And just before we get to the rest of the cast of characters here, Randy Wold, who is a 1975 graduated with Kendall Wilkinson, Michael Wilkinson's dad, the Don and Ron Schultz twins, Jeff Redmond lives over in Black Earth. I'm going to forget some.
Bill Bryant.
Bob Wick, Bill Bryant, Steve Kine. The list goes on. Probably the most successful sports class of guys in the history of Wisconsin Heights. And Randy Wold was on Facebook and asked, Anybody know of a cleaning service for a house? He got right
Guess who
on it
said
and
RVR
said RVR
Services.
Services.
Mr. Harris Brando.
Yep. RVR-services.com is where you find out more about that. And it's a great time of year to do that. Clean just about anything. That's what Ryan will do for you. Call him up or visit his website. So that's Harris Brando. He makes all the decisions, and John is there. He's basically producing the program. That's why he's got the headphones on.
Cans. Yeah.
Got
Todd.
the cans on.
Thanks
All
for
right.
joining us.
So we've got ourselves a full slate. We're going to start out with Joe, as we always do, Wisconsin Heights Weekly. Then we're going to give it to John for Maze
Take it
Mania
home.
Site-Wise. And then Dad's going to take over.
No,
like
before
usually
he
does.
starts, I just want to go on record. I have a very important Wisconsinites Weekly. Usually I don't have anything other than
We'll
interruptions.
see if he has it, though, right?
No, he won't. He won't.
Oh,
he
you
won't.
won't.
Yeah, I know he won't. I know he won't. Here we go.
And then
All
we've
right.
got Roy from Elroy, and we've got our second part with Jared. Sorry,
Choked up.
I'm choked up on it. Jared Brunner, part number 2. And then we're going to do the Wonder Wheel. That's what I got right here. So check it out. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, Wisconsin Heights Weekly. Baseball team currently 2-3 in the conference standings, 4-7 overall. The soccer team is 4-2 and 1.
4-2 and 1.
And 2 and 1.
And the softball team is 4-12. I don't have any other stats or standings for any of the other teams, so send them my way if you can.
Nothing for track or anything?
Nope. All right, May 10th, which is
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
The day this
today.
the day this comes out. Yeah.
at 6:30 tonight. Dodgeball tourney for the community. $10 per team.
Woo!
And then there are concessions included.
That's a good price to get hit.
Has
with
that
with a dodgeball.
evolved from Bame Ball?
I think
Yes,
so.
I think
Some
it
of
has.
you guys played
I
in.
think they're just trying
Rick
to get the
Bame, who was a
community
teacher.
now.
Did he?
Pretty sure I was
it
the
about
first
his
year.
wife, or did he have cancer?
His wife.
wife
Well,
did.
he had
And then he
cancer as
ended
well
up having
later,
cancer,
but
yeah.
Okay,
she
but they
passed
had
away. His first wife
Okay,
passed away.
but they had a fundraiser called Bame Ball. Do you know when it switched to?
Well, I think I was
I
the
think-
first year. I think.
I think he
Baseball.
left.
Yes.
I think he left my freshman.
So that was 05 or
after my freshman year. He left with Vince, Breinig, and such.
Joe, take your dial over there. The top, it's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you take that and just spin it to the higher numbers a little bit more? Just like what is that right now? You're
It's at 7 right now.
go up to like 8.
See what you think
All
of it,
the way up.
Johnny.
Yeah, I
You're
can't-
the producer.
He
Can't hear
can't.
him.
Joe can hear. He just talks a
Oh,
little bit farther away from
okay.
it, so that'll pick it up a little bit
Perfect.
better.
So
Yeah.
I think it wasn't Bame Ball when I was a senior.
Okay.
So I think it had
that was
switched.
2011.
Yep.
And,
so I
we
think it had
played.
switched.
We did. I was in it too, and it wasn't called Bane Ball either. I don't know what they.
That follows.
I don't know if they call it FBA LA dodgeball or something like that.
Maybe.
So you mean like after
I know the
they
NHS put it on.
It
after
used
they
to
didn't
be-
do it, they didn't change it back to Bame Ball.
They didn't
for
keep
you.
it. They didn't keep it. It wasn't Bane Ball. What you guys would
Yeah,
come
but it
home.
wasn't when his, and so they didn't change it back then.
He's
No,
not catching
I'm
on.
just saying. I'm saying that you guys would come home and say that there was, but you guys had Bane Ball, and then it changed with Joe, and I was just saying that it wasn't the same. It
It
wasn't
would've
named
stayed
that
the
either.
same, yeah, sure.
That they just they
But
didn't.
now it's become the community dodgeball
Dodgeball
event.
All right.
That would be interesting
Yeah.
because you could have some people like me, really old, and then
could.
you could have some guys like
But you'd be
you
hitting your
just
own
distribute-
teammates because you can't feel your arm.
Oh,
when
true,
You're throwing
yeah,
it. That would
yeah.
be good.
Where is this being held?
I believe it's at the high school
Oh, okay. That makes
in the
sense.
gymnasium.
They got 4 gyms out there now.
Yep.
Well, the 2 of them are in the elementary school.
That's still out there.
Hey, Hudson. One campus. One campus, Hudson. Right here. All right. May 11th, which is Thursday, 5 p.m., soccer girls are playing at Madison Country Day. 5 p.m. as well, softball team is playing at Dodgeville, the Dodgeville Dodgers. I don't know what Madison Country Day's mascot
I
is.
don't know.
Friday, May 12th, 4:30, track and field at Belleville. 5 p.m.,
Are they not Sugar River?
but it's at Belleville's high school. So
But is that
Yeah.
right? Are they Sugar River for all those things? Okay.
because I think they co-op with New Glarus.
I wonder what their mascot is.
I don't know.
Rapids. Maybe they're the Rapids.
Glarner Wildcats.
Didn't they? Yeah, never mind. I'm wrong.
5 p.m. that same night, baseball at home against Marshall. The Cardinals. 5 p.m. as well, softball at Deerfield.
It's a
Deerfield
Central Time, right?
Demons, I think.
Central Time, Joe?
Correct.
Okay.
Central Standard Time.
Thank you.
And then 7 p.m. Friday night, lacrosse at Oconomowoc. Or
Oconomowoc.
Oconomowoc.
Oconomowoc or Oconomowoc. That's what. It's a long story. I won't go into it.
Okay.
Saturday, May 13th, 12 p.m., lacrosse at home, which is Sauk.
At Sauk, which
Yep.
is their home field.
Mm-hmm.
Turf.
And then Monday the 15th, 4 p.m., softball at home against Sauk. And then at 7 p.m., there's a high school concert / middle school concert. Concerto.
Nice.
And then Tuesday, May 16th, there's several things going on. 9 a.m., conference golf meet at Lodi. I'm guessing it's at that country club.
Yeah. We've been there before.
4 p.m., track and field conference meet at Marshall. 5 p.m., baseball at home against Belleville, the Wildcats. 6:45 p.m., soccer at Lake Mills, girls soccer at Lake Mills. 5 p.m., softball at home against Belleville. I wonder if they're teaming up, riding the same bus.
It's a busy night.
Yeah.
It is a
And
busy
then
night.
7 p.m., lacrosse at the Wildcats of Verona.
Madison Country Day Eagles.
Looking forward though to as we get a little bit closer to the start opening day of Mazo Mustangs baseball.
Oh, yeah.
3 of us plus Johnny coaching, Coach
Yeah.
Coach W as we like to call him,
Plus Deshaun.
Yeah.
and Dash.
The Reverend.
Yeah,
Stalking center field, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
roaming.
yes, we'll see.
Roaming center field. Yeah. Anyway, Dad's got a Wisconsin Heights Weekly.
I've got an addendum to the Wisconsin Heights Weekly. So I haven't been able to run indoors because we're in between facilities. The Mix It Up Fitness Center closed down, and we got to wait a couple of months.
For Velocity.
Yep. And so I was running today, and after my run, I was walking out on Highway 14 down
On the
by Gordon's.
sidewalk.
Yep,
Oh,
on the
good.
sidewalk.
Right in the middle.
And I saw a familiar person walking, and I could tell who it was right away just by their body size and walking, and they were down by the bank, and I knew who it was already. Got closer and closer. He took his earbuds out. It was Dan Jurgens.
Oh.
And so I said, hey, Dan, I wanted to ask you a question. And I asked him about Joe Marks, because we had heard, and other people had heard, that Joe was a science teacher out at Heights, longtime science teacher, one of your guys' favorite teachers, along with Dan Jurgens and a few others. He supposedly, when they were on their yearly California trip, which I think they're like 22 years, they've done it, supposedly had a heart attack. Now, this is not a quote because I don't want to get Dan in any kind of, like he's like Joe Marks' spokesman. That's we were just talking, 2 guys on the sidewalk, but he does work right directly with Joe, and he was
They have
concerned
adjoining
about him.
rooms.
In fact, they were on the trip together.
Yep.
He's the one that called 911.
Wow.
So he went to Modesto, was airlifted to Modesto, whatever, health clinic. And supposedly he has a little bit of something going on with his heart, and he has some problem with his back, like a slipped disc or something. But it's really more of a gastrointestinal problem.
Oh, that's good to hear.
So I think he's finding out details. What is, if he has to have anything done with his heart situation or the gastrointestinal stuff or the back problem. But there's multiple things going on there, and I don't know to the serious level of it is, but we just want to let you know because he's been out there for decades and decades, and but was the football coach and things like that. So Anyway, just wanted to give that update for Joe Marks, and I'll have more as an addendum to.
I figured.
All right, Johnny.
Meso-mani.
Let's do Meso-mani.
You mean that was?
Yeah.
Oh, let me say,
All right, so we will not
Yeah.
forget
Yeah.
that this upcoming Sunday is Mother's Day. And we won't forget that on April 29th was the grand opening of B Style Floral down in
never
historic
forget.
downtown Mazo, right across from 1855 Coffee House. And go on down there to get your flowers and gifts for your mom.
Can I say something?
Please
Their
do.
shop looks very inviting
Okay.
It does.
from the outside.
Whose place is it again? B
Yes.
Style.
Just
Leave it there.
I
but
just
that's-
outed-
I know,
Yep,
but who's that? Where I haven't been down to.
It's right across.
downtown.
It's right across from the flagpole's in the middle.
It's your chance.
There's 1855, and on the other side is
Yep.
B Style.
There was
Used
a,
to be
uh,
the
Joe, it's
rental.
Before that
movie
GPF,
rental.
before that, it was the
John
it was
and I would-
the, it was
we'd
the
venture down there
pharmacy,
sometimes.
the
Get a movie
drugstore.
on.
Who was the guy? Danny.
Danny Almonte, but
Who was the guy that
wasn't Danny Almonte.
that was there?
I can't remember his last name. But I see him a fair amount around town.
Was it a U? Did it start with a U?
Maybe, but yeah,
Perfect. Well, we settled that.
Ulrich. What was his last
Anyway,
name?
yeah, his parents or
Yeah,
step parents
yeah.
or whatever.
That
owned-
that
Oh,
store
well, stepmom or stepdad, I can't remember.
that store is interesting because Mom and I walk by there every morning, and they've got beautiful flower pots out in front of B Style, and they're just there. And what I mean by that is before that was B Style, before that was the video place,
Right, Danny's
before that
movie
was
rental.
GPF, John Traeger, his furniture store, office furniture store. It was a drugstore. And when we would come home from Madison and stuff with my family, we would see young kids there, mainly young men, sitting on that right in front there on the stoop, smoking and stuff. And it's just interesting to see it
change.
become something else. And there's flower pots out there, and it just wouldn't have been that way when I was
Yeah.
growing up.
Interesting. So anyway, go ahead and get your flowers and gifts from there. Why not? Buy local. 1855 has May lattes. There's two of them.
Some might say the flavors of
Flavors
May.
of May. There you
Yeah.
go.
Mhm.
Salted banana toffee and strawberry cupcake white mocha. That's a mouthful.
And,
And the
and
flavors all May.
Cora Gullickson, who was a teacher at Heights, you're some of your teachers.
Yep.
She was your teacher.
Yep, she's my teacher.
She was in there this morning when Hudson and I were there, and she got the banana latte
Okay.
and said that it was very, very
Nice.
It's
good.
very tasty.
Was her daughter in there?
Also,
too?
Yep.
Michelle
Her
did.
daughter works at the school now.
What's her daughter's name?
Eliza, I think.
Eliza.
I
Okay,
think
I gotta remember
I
that.
two,
think
right?
she's the oldest, isn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
She was born. I think she was born when I was in.
You said you think
fourth
she was
grade.
born first. She's the oldest,
No,
so
I
you think
said-
she was born
nope.
first.
I said
Oh.
I think she's the
Where did
oldest.
they go to school?
Heights.
Heights.
They went to
They
school
went to
at
Heights. Yeah, I don't know how old the oldest is. I don't remember.
I think one of
her.
them's DeMond's age and one of them's maybe Deshaun's age, or like in
Oh.
between.
That would work. That would
But
make sense.
that was
I would-
when. Yeah, that was. They were around that time. Also, I mentioned this. I think now it was 2 weeks because I wasn't here last week. That there is at 1855 there is a make and take chai class this Saturday. $45 entry fee. I believe that gets you obviously in the class, and then you get to. I think there's you get to pick a drink and a something to eat while you're there. What's chai? So that includes that. The class is taught by
Chai
Erin.
babies.
Erin, and she's
Chai
with
people.
Telsan Telsan. It's double A-N.
Chai is it?
Tea.
It's a type of tea. Correct. Yeah.
And it goes from 3:30 to 5 Central Time.
Okay.
So
Down at 1855, you
Yep.
said. Correct.
yep. So that's this Saturday. And then lastly, this kind of goes into Heights Weekly. I can't remember the start date, but I think it's It's something on my segment This week. Wisconsin Heights Weekly.
It's really become everyone's segment.
No,
Wisconsin
Heights Greenhouse Sale.
I'm glad you
There
mentioned
it is.
that.
It's
Yes.
still going until. So what I'm saying is it's still going is because I think it started this week, Okay. which is the week of the
Well, I think maybe one
The
before
5th?
that. But anyway, it's
Is it the 5th?
going on now, and it ends this Sunday, which is Mother's Day.
Now, if
Anyway.
Kim Hauser, anybody who knows Kim Hauser who has ever taken that class, you'll know this reference. Shadow dancer Marcia Fuchsia. You remember that?
Yep.
Okay. We had to learn. I took that class, and we got to sell stuff out of the greenhouse, and that was a type of.
Well,
you
make
had to
sure
know
you
what
call
type
it
of
dirt
plants.
and not soil.
Yeah.
For
lots of dirt in there.
It goes for a while, right? So you should
Yeah,
go out
I
and get
think
some
I'm-
footage.
yep.
You should head out
you're
there and
right.
get
I
some
should
footage.
take some.
Right now, they're on the Mesa Big Board.
Okay.
That's true.
As you come in.
Wisconsin
Right by
Heights,
the bluff, which was a hot topic.
Anyway, you'll find if you're not familiar with Wisconsin Heights School, it's on the south side of the high school. The greenhouse is, so you can come on
the
down
teacher's
and
park.
buy your plants.
Closest to Olson
That's all
Road.
I got. That's all I got for
Right next to the
Wisconsin,
entrance
or
of
for
Wolfram Trail.
Mazo site wise.
All right, Dad.
Just a couple of things. One, don't forget that you get 10% off down at the 1855 Coffee House because they're our one sponsor. And in fact, this morning we found out that Mark Hinderman, the UPS driver around here, he stopped in and said he listens, but he said he wouldn't take the 10% discount. That's just like
what a
Mark.
guy.
That's
It's
just
just like
Mark.
him. Yep.
Yep.
He's
Did
giving.
you say
I don't
that he
even know.
delivers on his promises?
He does. Yep. I saw this. Okay, so no comments. We're not going to make any comments
Nope.
because really
we
we don't have a
just
dog
information. We just-
in the race.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that right?
Dog in the fight.
Dog in the fight.
Horse in the
Probably
race.
not
Horse
good
in the
either.
race.
Horse
There
in the
you go.
race.
Don't kick a
We don't-
gift horse in the mouth.
We don't take sides. We're apolitical. That means we don't have a political view on this podcast.
Don't kick a
But
stick
there
with a
is,
dead horse.
as Hudson just alluded to, in what's happening in Mazo Facebook, there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen with our bluff.
Bluff right up there.
Whether you should put like a park up there and a cement slab, maybe. I don't know what else the village is thinking of doing, or restore it to its original. But there's a lot of people that have opinions. So just
Where
something
did
about-
this start? Where have I been?
Well, you're not a Facebook person, so you.
This
Yeah.
was
It's
hotly
what's happening in
debated.
Mazo.
It's- it's being
if you
debated.
look at what's happening Mazo, there's been in the 20s of posts, maybe
And then comments.
And
What,
comments.
what is the name of it? Is it what's happening?
what's happening Mazomania.
What's happening Mazomania? That's what it is. It's not what's happening in Mazo.
No, it's what's happening Mazomania.
Okay.
Joe, if you were a Facebook person, then you would know this.
So stick to the script. Script's good.
Yeah, it's being discussed. I think they gave. I don't know. I'm not going to say,
It was right there. There's the
but
title.
yeah,
What's-
you're right.
It should. I don't know. I didn't start it, so I'm not making a comment on it. But it's almost like question mark. What's happening, Mazomania?
Well,
you know what I mean?
that would be fair.
What's happening, Mazomania? Yeah. See,
Yeah, what's with the apostrophe S, meaning
What
what
is
is
happening?
what
What
is
is
happening,
happening?
Mazomania? So, and here's an interesting thing. Melissa, who ran Mike's Mix It Up Fitness.
No.
Just
Mike's
Mike
Fitness
Mike
and Fitness
they're two
Center.
different things. Yep.
And
You think you really like that place.
they want to see how many people want to get a tennis pad in the Lions Park for pickleball.
Yep.
It's the newest rage,
It
and
has been,
and the guy
yeah.
behind it's John F.
Yep.
Wick.
I just was reading
It
that.
wouldn't surprise me if he played.
Yes, probably.
But I think what he's saying is are people wanting it, and maybe he would donate or something.
yeah. Now this is
I'm
off the
guessing.
topic of this is not going to be going up on the bluff. We're talking
This
about
is
setting
not
down.
going on the bluff. No, that's separate. That's a
Just,
separate
it
thing.
just didn't really end
Down
that.
at Lions
so,
Park, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. The all of the hubbub about the bluff and
So
the
what
other things.
the
Where the tennis courts
the
were.
village of Mazo is considering what's brought up this. Hey, we should do something with the bluff.
I don't know if there's
I think-
a grant. I think that's been the possibility or
Oh.
something like that. And I think some people
have to do your research.
Again, don't quote us on this because I haven't done a lot of studies. So
put
don't
the-
get mad.
put the
if I
disclaimer
don't- Yeah,
up there,
definitely.
Damon.
And Damon, keep the disclaimer up there so people can read it this time. Don't just flash it up there. Give it a good 15 seconds.
If you want these people to really go berserk.
I don't
Tell them
know.
that we need another dollar store
Yeah,
up there.
up on the thing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should talk more about this because
I think we're going to end it right there.
I think
let's end it right there because I think
people
we'll
are
cut our
tired of it
losses
and they
here.
don't want to have
And
another.
if it's an important thing, we are not that type of. We're not that important. We don't look at ourselves as that important.
and people come to us, they're probably like, okay, spent all my day on what's happening Meso, and now I just want to decompress with the podcast.
Yeah,
and
they
then
don't want to get into
more
politics
about
and
the
stuff.
bluff.
Let's turn to something real interesting, just real quickly before we go to our next segment. We had Jim Schrader in. He's going to be our guest next week. Jim Schrader, former principal, faculty member at Heights. He does a lot of stuff around town, namely the band, the Cornet Band, Iron Horse Cornet Band, and Music Conservancy. And we talked to him about the Music Conservancy, the Mazomania Music Conservancy, and he'll be our guest next week. Mm-hmm. That's
Thanks.
it, boys.
Well, shall we move on to the exciting adventures with Roy from Elroy?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
Roy's been walking these streets so long, howling the same old song. Roy knows every crack in these dirty sidewalks of Meso, where hustle's the name of the game, and nice Roys get washed away like the snow in the rain. There's been a load of compromising on the road to Roy's horizon, but Roy's gonna be where the lights are shining on him, like a rhinestone cowboy, riding out on a horse in a Ryan Dasher rodeo. Like a rhinestone cowboy, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know, and offers coming over the phone.
He's just gotten bigger.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Well, we do have the one story from today, which is Friday, May
Yeah, Cinco de
5th.
Mayo.
Yep.
Cinco de Mayo. I was running around outside with him, playing fetch and run, that kind of stuff, and I almost ran right into, because that's how fast I am, almost ran right into and over like a little ground squirrel chipmunk thing. It was really weird. It was just kind of sitting there. And
You
then
were so
finally,
fast,
that's why
it just got on.
Yeah,
and
that's
you,
why I said that. And so as it then it just kind of ran off and it jumped into the little what's that little by our house there by the
Eaves
window the little windowsill
window well.
Get in the well.
I guess.
Get in the window well. It got into the window well, and Roy was on it, but he was nervous, like he is a lot of times. He wasn't getting real close.
Yeah.
I was telling him to get it, which I assumed he'd just kind of chase after it and stuff. But then this chipmunk didn't know where it was going. It started running into the side of our house after it got out of the well, and then it just ran into our garage. And I thought, oh, this is a problem. And so Roy went in after him, or her. I guess I don't know, but it kept cornering itself. And so Roy just kept, and then Joe got home, and Roy had lost his mind. Then he was serious about trying to get this thing, because that's typically what he does. Is he's quite nervous up front, and then he gets a little more comfortable with it.
He
then
does lose
he
his
gets
mind.
aggressive, and
He
he
jumped
lost
in the
his mind.
recyclable bin,
Yeah.
almost knocked that over.
And he came over here, and his tongue was hanging. I don't know if he was running so much; he just gets emotionally involved. in
Very
his-
And then he was. Then we have a hitting net, which has kind of a sock that you can hit into, and he jumped in there and was in the sock, and I was like, "You're gonna."
he does.
You're
He
gonna
loses all. There's
himself,
no
yeah.
reason. There's no reasoning with him when he's lost his mind because he's just gone.
Yeah.
He gets really mad at me when I call him Raven.
Yeah. Which is
That's
dad.
his dad's name. He gets so angry with me. He
Raven
snarls
and
at me and bites
Cheyenne.
me. Well, his mom's name was Cheyenne.
Cheyenne.
They were big dogs, though, so he's going to be, I mean, I wouldn't doubt if he's 90 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a big dog.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, that was just kind
That
of
was
a.
good.
It started
I know
out
about
kind of
that.
fun and exciting, but then he just loses his mind, and the chipmunk wasn't helping itself because it wasn't had multiple opportunities to get out of the garage, and it just did not.
You know what he is now? Rhinestone Calroy.
Yep.
He was that a couple weeks ago too.
That's the only story I
That
have.
well,
Hudson,
he
Hudson
does.
one other story.
I don't know.
Hudson has a Pilot. That's a vehicle, a Honda
Honda.
Pilot.
Sure do.
And the back, all the seats go back except for the two front seats, and he's got his fishing gear back there on one side, and the other side is a bed. So he asked Mom and I to go on a little ride, and I laid back on that bed with Roy, and on the way, both Roy and I fell asleep
Oh,
on
nice.
our little trip.
Nice.
That now we're careful.
I don't know.
I was strapped in though.
Yeah.
I had a
I bungee jumped.
horizontal.
I bungee.
I had a horizontal seatbelt.
Roy had you and you had Roy.
I saw, by the way, today.
Which would
this-
only protect you from over a big bump.
this had nothing to do with the podcast and anything or Roy, but I was driving past. I was going down Olson Road. I dropped off some cookies to Joe, Gooks to Joe, and I saw this guy getting ready to go fishing. Well, on the way there and then on the way back, he had his son with him, his kid with him. It was his son because I could tell. He had one of those things that sits on your back, and the kid sits in there, and he was fishing with his son on his back. I thought that was kind of impressive and
You're just jigging.
commitment.
Did you guys ever ride in one of those?
I think so.
Johnny had one. I'd
what do they
take him-
call those?
I'd mow lawn with Johnny on the back. I don't know. It's
Explains
just
a
a
lot.
little something that would sit up and
Yeah.
we would harness.
It's like a backpack
Would be around
kind
here,
of,
yeah.
with-
and his
yeah.
head would
Maybe
be up
backpack.
about here. Johnny's head would be.
The thing that I think of, maybe Damon can find it, but when Emperor's New Groove, Kronk is,
Yeah.
that's what it. Anyway,
Yeah.
You also saw
who do?
a celebrity from this podcast, me, running.
I did see you running. Yeah,
Was I ever?
I had to speed up
You ran
because you were
today?
catching me.
I
Sure
ran
did.
today.
I ran today.
You ran today.
Mile
I
and a
ran
half.
today at the school.
Boy, my lungs were burning.
Yeah. Mile and a half.
I know, isn't it embarrassing?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said
That's
anything.
just-
Anyway,
fine.
You're
That's
used to
good.
running. You're used to running and jogging, mainly jogging, just 90
Now,
feet at a time.
jogging or is it jogging?
Well, how long is it?
Some people
90,
say
90,
jogging.
90, and 90. That's 360.
Yeah.
That's what I'm used to.
Yep.
Nice slow jog after making contact. So
I don't know
Anyway.
if it's jogging or jogging. I think it's jogging.
Okay.
let's move on to our second part with Jared Brunner. This is more about his recent health status. So we will get you into that right after this.
This is our father-son voiceover podcast branding thing. You can get one of those. Nothing on the back. Just nice and clean and plain. Baseball shirt. And then there's the Adventures with Roy from Elroy t-shirt. If you want, they're $20 a piece. And you can buy those. Just let us know. Just contact Hudson. What's your email address? Hudson?
Barsness@yahoo.com.
HudsonBarsness@yahoo.com.
There'll be stuff in the link. It'll be stuff below here. See it.
Okay. So I don't know. I mean, do you mind? I don't know what, as far as the whole lymphoma thing. I mean, I'd like to hear a little bit if you're okay with talking about it. I mean, I kind of assumed you were because you were standing at a podium talking to a group of people about it. So,
Well, and if there's anything that you're not comfortable with,
Yeah, just
you don't
say
have. You can
pass
decide
or
rather
whatever.
not or whatever.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
so you had a torn ACL in 2019.
Yep.
When did you? What happened that you knew that you had lymphoma? I mean, what were their symptoms?
Yeah, there was definitely symptoms. So it was, and I don't know exactly when it started. 2022, I would say it started early. It was early because it was like during tax season. And the tough thing was we had this vacation planned in June. We were going to go out with Amber's family out to like Italy. We were going to go on this like cruise for a week. So it was like, typically I don't like, it's hard. It's easy to like not eat super well during tax season. You're busy. You're just kind of snacking. You're probably not getting to the gym and stuff as much. So I was making a big effort to like, work out as much as I could. Cause like, this is a cool trip, try to get that beach bod ready. So I was kind of having these like stomach pains, almost like spasm type things throughout the day. It would just, some days worse than others. And that I kind of just put up with it for a while. And finally one night I think it was just really bothering me one night. I was having kind of a bad night. It was really like acting up. So my wife Amber's like, we should go into the ER and just, I had been seeing my doctor, but even that route goes kind of slowly. Like you'll try this medicine and maybe go on to something else. We weren't even thinking anything like super serious at that time.
But I mean, what did they think what were they treating you for? I mean, like it's just a hiatal hernia or I mean, was it something?
Some type of like
stomach ulcer
some type
or
of
something?
Some type of small stomach type issue.
Okay.
They knew like the stomach was my issue. So it was like this medicine should help, with some of this, and then we'll revisit in a month if it doesn't seem to help. So we eventually I had been doing that for maybe like a week or two, and then Amber's like, we should, her knowing like the medical side was like, let's just go in, because they're gonna run. If you go into the ER, they'll run a bunch of tests and stuff on you, So I think that night we were probably there for like 5 or by the time we left, it was like 2:30 a.m. or something. And I want to say we left around like 7. I don't know how long I was there exactly. I'd say like 5 hours or something. So after like all these tests that we did, scans, all that, what they thought it was like Crohn's disease. So we went home thinking like that's what it was. So like, we're looking stuff up and we like, okay, well, that's what we'll have to deal with. Well, fast forward to the next morning, it was maybe around like 8 a.m. I got my chart like message or something, and Amber had like left the room. And I found out this later, but we had like the doctor called within like 20 minutes, and basically they're like, yeah, we had like someone else take a look at the scan, and it actually isn't Crohn's disease. It's, you have a tumor right where like your small and large intestines meet. So yeah, I don't know the percentage. I don't think it's low. It's maybe not 1%, but most people have, lymphomas like up in their, up in this area, but
Sure.
So mine was down in the stomach area. So that was kind of a gut punch. But I found out later she had read the, cause they'll actually release some of this stuff without telling you, first. So if you go online and read your My Chart message, so she had, with her background, she knew what it was. So she actually went to the other room to like, cry and call her mom. And, so for me, it was just like shocking, finding out that. But that was like my initial thought on it. Part of me, I guess, was glad that it was that we know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like not too long after that, I was kind of just in the like, all right, well, I'm ready to like fight it, take care of it. So I was in that mode. So I didn't really like get too down on myself, I guess. I tried, my goal, especially like day one, was to just like have a good attitude about this, because I had the thought that I was going to beat it. I'm going to take care of it. So, so the diagnosis, like we found that out. And what I found out with one of the hardest parts was finding it out. And then that little break, even though it was probably like a month till I actually started, because we came up with a plan, met with a doctor. We went in that morning, to meet with like a doctor and start going over some of the stuff. So then it was like, treatment plan, here's what we were thinking, sign off on that, but it's like not going to start for a month. So that month was like tough, because it's like I had the mentality like let's do this, let's go at it. So that waiting period was kind of tough. So I started about a month later after finding that out with chemotherapy, and it was a chemotherapy called RCHOP. And those letters just stand for a lot of like the drugs and stuff that they use to treat that. So I had a cancerous areas, I guess. It was more than one place. So everything went really well. Like first couple of treatments went really well. I remember, and I woke up, I want to say it was sometime after my second treatment. I woke up and I just wasn't feeling good. And I just had kind of like a pain. And Amber had let me sleep in that morning. I kind of walk out in the living room and she's in there with Cam and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know. I kind of just, it's not like a constipation type feeling, but I have some pain." And she's like, God bless her. She was like, "Well, your doctor said there's a 15% chance you could perf your bowel." So she's like, we should go, we need to go into the ER. So we go in and sure enough, that's what happened. And like 2 hours later, I'm in like the worst pain I've ever been in before, just like the smallest hole, but essentially the chemo had caused like the tumor to collapse a little bit, maybe like creating some little hole in the intestine. But, so then I had like emergency surgery for that.
So you didn't have surgery they just used chemo to try to shrink the tumor. So you didn't have surgery for that, but you ended up having surgery for the hole in your intestine.
So yes, they didn't. So their thought with it was like that cancer treatment typically takes care of not only the cancerous areas in you, but also the tumor. Like it would eventually shrink. And, so it made more sense to not get any type of like surgery done. Cause that would have also like delayed, when you could start chemotherapy. If they would have like went in and taken it out, I don't know how long it would have been, but you would have had to wait until you healed up.
I see.
And, some of the stomach surgeries is, you're talking like weeks and stuff. And at that point they don't want things to progress worse. So, that's why nothing was done then. So that day I think I ended up getting like 4 inches of bowel taken out and then the tumor with that. So,
they took it.
So then they took that
they
out.
were in there anyway, huh?
So then I got a temporary, I think it's ileostomy, they call it, because that's one that can be reversed. So that's where like they have your intestine coming out of your stomach down here. And then you have to wear like a ostomy bag. So, that was almost harder on me than, it's been harder living with that most days than even living with like cancer. I know, as crazy as that sounds, because it just changes your lifestyle quite a bit. So then I was in the hospital for a little bit after that stay and heal up and get your, it's a lot. It was a lot of stitches. I don't know if it was 20 stitches or whatever in your stomach from the surgery. So it took a while to get like the strength back up. You're already, lacking strength as it is. So, just for going through some of those treatments. So we got done with that. And then I think they let me, instead of going, it was like every 3 weeks I was getting chemotherapy treatment. So when that happened, we kind of just had a 3-week pause to like gain strength back or whatever. And then we started it back up and everything was going really well. Like I felt really good through most of I didn't have too many like bad days with the chemotherapy. It got a little harder in like the 5th and 6th treatment when I was getting towards the end. But so I had like really good thoughts, like going into my scan. But I think I had probably a progress scan at some point. Actually I did for sure. I had a progress scan maybe after like the 3rd or 4th type treatment. And then you had one at the end just to see, they can see the progress of like the cancer going away.
And this is where in 2022? Are we in the summer?
We're in the summer. We're probably in like June, around June, I would say. So then to fast forward at the end of that 6 weeks, I get a scan and meet with my doctor and found out like good and bad news. The cancer was all gone except for this one area. So it was into just this one area, but it's decent size, it lights up on the scan where it is exactly. So I guess the good news was it took care of most of it, but there was still more work to be done. So that was a little like, I was like, man, I was feeling good. I thought that was going to be it. So they found out through progress scans that at some point the cancer was like resisting the R-CHOP like chemotherapy, at least in that specific like cell area. So the next plan was to do a very innovative, it's been around for probably 10 years, but it's called CAR T therapy. And it's like cutting edge as far as cutting edge definitely in like the cancer community. Like there's, luckily UW has a few doctors that like specialize in it. You're seeing it like grow a lot throughout the country, but the plan was to do that next. So what they do is essentially it's almost like giving plasma. They hook you up to a machine. You take a bunch of blood. It's looking for a specific cell. It does a pretty good job of putting back the other cells into your body. So most of the thing that they're looking for is getting taken from you. So that was, I mean, you're probably there just for like an hour and a half or two, and it's picking up those cells. And essentially this CAR T therapy, they send it off to essentially like they send it off to a lab, and they modify it and do all these, they add a bunch of things to it that are, and the plan is then 4 weeks later, they'll send it back to the hospital and they'll inject you with it. And then those cells start just immediately attacking any type of cancer area. So it's really interesting. I've just learned so much about it, but it's like real cutting edge stuff. So I did have like a 4 week, like that 4 week period of kind of waiting in between. So we did, because the RCHOP was kind of like resisting that area, we decided to go with radiation. So I had 19 radiation cycles. So that was interesting because I'm in almost like a CT bed where you're laying, and I want to say each one was maybe like an hour and a half. You're in there for an hour and a half, but most of that time is like getting everything precisely lined up so that they're not damaging anything else in you. They're like specifically pinpointing a certain area. Cause then the real, like administering the radiation was probably only like the last 5 minutes or whatever it was just, I've learned so much medical stuff, but that was an interesting experience. So I did that like every day for those like 19 days. So I think it was just not on the weekends. It was like Monday through Friday. And I would do it right away in the morning and get back home around like 10 and just sign on to work, and was working. So
you were working all along?
I was working mostly all along. My work was burnt CPA was just great. They gave me time off when I needed it for like appointments, and I worked as much as I could. And every once in a while you might need like just a catch up day or whatever. I had to take a day off and rest or get my strength back after like the last few chemo cycles. There'd usually be like a day where I just almost needed to sleep, get some energy back. And then, but yeah, they let me work like remote. So I was working from home, which was nice. And then to get back to the CAR T. So after the radiation, the CAR T put it back in you. And I was a little nervous for it because I don't know, blood has always kind of been a weird thing for me, like hospitals too, but that stuff's all, my fear has kind of like slowly gone away because I've spent like so much of my year at the hospital. Like for a while it was like every day kind of thing. So it's funny because so I was like nervous for this, and they come in to do it, and it's just all that blood was sent off for one little syringe that they put back in. It's like anticlimactic. Yeah. Like I was nervous for this little syringe, and then it's like it's in you, and then okay. But there are like a lot of side effects that come with something like this. Like confusion is one of them, and like fevers. So you really need to watch. Like I really needed to watch all that stuff really closely. Especially that first like couple weeks, that first 4 weeks to be exact. But like the first week or two is like when you start seeing some of those. So it's like as soon as I hit a fever of like 101, I had to go into the ER, and they have like a band around their system so they kind of know you're coming or whatever. But so I think like the second day I spiked a fever, so I was in the hospital for a couple days, and they just monitor it or whatever. Got out for another day and then spiked another fever, back to the hospital for 3 days, and then after that it went pretty well. It just, that therapy hit me so much harder than like the chemotherapy and the radiation even combined. So for those 4 weeks, they advised me like not to work at all. So my work gave me off for those 4 weeks, which is nice. Just like concentrate on like getting better, resting, But I would say those first 3 weeks of the 4 weeks, I was just like knocked out, didn't have the energy. Still had to go to like appointments and stuff daily, but it was hard on me. And then went in for like because I was going in for like daily blood draws. They'd check my levels and see if they're improving. see if I need anything. So one day they got me, it was towards the end of like the third week, and they're like, oh, you could use an IV, get some fluids in you. And didn't feel like really different after that. But the next day, like it just like a switch flipped, and I like then started getting like my energy back. My appetite started coming back, was eating, was able to like go and do a little bit of active stuff, which was great. And then, so after those 4 weeks, I went back to work. I just wasn't allowed to drive for another 4 weeks. So like 8 weeks total, wasn't able to like drive just for potential like seizures and side effects and stuff. They don't want you like operating machinery or driving cars or anything like that. But I was by then you're out of the woods for like the fevers and things like that. I had already kind of gone through that stage. So then after those 4 weeks, had a scan and came back awesome. I'm like technically in remission now, which was like awesome to hear.
When was that? When did you get the kind of the green light for remission?
That would have been kind of like maybe mid-March, sometime around March. So it was like very recent.
Yeah.
And then I have another scan coming up. And so we've definitely have like told people, like people know. My wife was doing like a carrying bridge throughout this all, but we kind of like waited. Just I don't know if it's a superstitious thing, but like this next one's a big scan, and if it's like comes back good, like you're not like obviously good forever, but you're in a very good place. Things like they said even the radiation could kind of play a factor into like the first scan, and they wanted to make sure like the CAR T was doing its job and it wasn't like radiation doing it all, because the radiation stays in you for a while, for weeks and weeks, and it can continue to attack certain areas and stuff. So that was great news. We'll see what the next scan.
When is the next scan?
I want to say May 8th.
Okay.
So it's like May 8th, and then I think a couple days later you go in and we'll meet with like the doctor, go over the scan together. And but that day that they told me I was in remission, it was kind of cool because she put up the original scan from that first night I was at the ER to like the progress ones, and just you could slowly see these, you were lit up like a Christmas tree, the first one, and just slowly you're seeing less like this orange light in certain areas to like practically like nothing at the last one. So that was really cool. So it was good news to get, and hopefully everything stays well and I can kind of just get back to normal life because I'm ready.
It's amazing. I mean, like I jokingly, and this isn't that great of a joke at this point, but as I get older, it's like I have a part-time job. It's going to the dentist and the doctor because you just have more things wrong with you. But when you have something like that, I mean, that's kind of your full-time job almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a lot to, Amber having to pick up a lot more around home because I had, with working and having all of that stuff on the side, and just, it's tough. It's takes up a lot of your time, and
you get kind of laser focused on your health and trying to take care of yourself, don't you?
Yeah. So it was just, and it was funny even looking back to my early, like my charts, I probably only had a handful of, it was just like physical, going in for your yearly physical type thing. And then all of a sudden just like, now I just have like pages and pages of just appointments and appointments. But it was cool. My Amber's sister works for UW Carbone Center, so she helped a lot. Like when I was getting into having to start everything, like because you hear everything from like a doctor's standpoint, but she really helped with like, here's what you should expect. Like kind of here's kind of like the day-to-day type of situation, right? Like I help patients all day with this type of thing, or like, oh, you're getting art shop. Like a lot of patients get that. This is like some side effects. You might feel like this or this. Like everyone's different, but it was like that really helped me get it going into it too. Like giving me like just me being able to think about how that's gonna go, rather than kind of like blindly going into it. And I feel like that helped a lot. And just like just having her close too, and being family and having her close and visit and being able to ask her questions, or Amber ask her questions, has been big. So. That she definitely helped a lot too with all of that.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh, just one other quick question about that, if you don't mind. You spoke for the Lymphomaniacs. Is that
Lymphomaniacs, yeah.
okay? And
So-
is that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so how that started was my neighbor Riva, her dad is like kind of the head of that. It's a biking team, but he's on the board for LLS. So when they found out, my
What's
dad,
LLS?
the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society.
Okay.
And so when they found out, of course they tell him, and so he was another like close person in my corner. Like before I started the CAR T therapy, he actually like connected me with one of their members that had gone through it, and this guy spent 45 minutes of his Saturday, called me one Saturday morning and told me his story and just wanted to listen to me and wanted to know if I had any questions. So that was like that was really cool of Bob to do that. But so he helped me with a lot of stuff. He got me, he was always there for like questions and things like that. So he's part of the Lymphomaniacs, and it's a biking group, and they help raise money for LLS.
I see.
And there's a big bike event. It's called like Scenic Shores. And I think it's out not in Milwaukee, but it's out like eastern Wisconsin. So that's a lot of people do that. It's like a 150-mile bike ride, but
Wow.
they do a lot of fundraising and stuff. And I guess there's a lot of like bike groups that do this, but they're one of the top, like they're definitely top 3. I want to say they're 1 or 2 with raising funds for LLS around the area here. So they're like a pretty well-known group. So that was fun. I got a chance to tell them my story, and I don't do like a ton of speaking, but it was kind of nice doing something like that because I do enjoy it.
Well, I mean, I don't have any other questions, I don't think, but that was very interesting. I think that was one of the things I was looking forward to hearing a little bit about.
Yeah.
What's going on with you
I
health-wise and
have
stuff.
one
please
question left, and I'm glad we saved it for the end. So in high school,
It's not like
you used to always tap your Pepsi can to make sure there were no fizz or anything. Do you still do that?
I still do it. I don't. I definitely have given up a lot of soda since then. Like I tried giving up. I still have the occasional like Diet Pepsi or something, but I like try to give up a lot of soda. Like,
Yeah.
I'll drink like Sprite on occasion, like something a little. Although it didn't seem to help me, I get a little healthier, and I still get run into but yeah, I don't know if it's like I don't know what it is. But
I
still
just
do
remember
a
you'd
little-
always get a Pepsi and you just do the
do
top,
the little
just make
tap.
sure.
Yeah.
Just to make sure it didn't blow
Yeah.
up. Well, it might have been because, I mean, there's been boys that have been known to shake it and hand it to you too. So it's probably a good
Yeah,
plan.
maybe I don't know. I probably like heard it one time
Yeah.
that like, oh, if you do this, it
Yeah.
won't
Yeah.
explode.
Yeah.
Mom.
Well, please don't stop. Not
Yeah,
on
I'm
my
not-
end.
I
I
won't
just,
stop.
I was just,
It's
I
funny
was
that you bring that up
hoping.
because people like do call me out a little bit when they see that. They think it's like everyone thinks it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, Mom said you got to flick the top of a can or the
Yeah.
top of a bottle over there, and to
Knock
make
the
sure
fizz
that
down,
I don't know if that does anything, but
Well, has it ever?
Yeah.
No, but I don't know if
there you go.
I wouldn't stop
I've never
that.
like actually like shaken one up though and tried
Oh.
it. So
Yeah,
maybe,
that might be a little.
maybe
Risky.
we'll see
Yeah.
if it really works. I
Yeah.
guess.
You
Maybe
get
that
your-
would get me to
get
stop.
Get your pizza in Bame's room from
Yep.
the pizza oven, and then have your Pepsi and tap on the top. Jared.
Those were the days.
Yeah, lots of pizzas at Bame's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you would have asked about 7th, 8th grade basketball.
Oh,
We could talk.
go.
That's the next interview.
Yeah.
It's
I get like a 3-parter like Mike, right?
yeah.
you have right. You have really changed your game though, because you were the go-to player at 7th and 8th grade
Yes.
ball. Jared Brunner was the go-to
He
scorer.
was the man.
And now he's become this old rebounder.
Yeah.
And
As much as I hate to admit it, I think what happened was I peaked before everyone else. Like I was, because at that point I was faster than it. I remember it was around like freshman or even maybe late freshman, sophomore year. It was like everyone started catching up to like I was no longer more athletic and faster and taller than everyone, or
Yeah.
like some of that stuff didn't matter. But
it's a lot better though than peaking in 4th or 5th grade like I did,
yeah,
because I was quicker than everybody else. Nobody else had any balance, so I was just dribbling around them, and then everybody got bigger and I didn't.
But you were always quicker than everyone
Well,
else.
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Had to be.
Had to be
Yeah.
something.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. Yeah, the next time you come back, we'll talk about 7th and 8th grade. That'll take about like 3
probably
minutes,
a whole
probably 3-4
episode on
minutes.
its own. I don't know if anyone's going to listen to that
No,
one.
no one's
But-
going
Cares? We'll just do it for ourselves.
We did
We'll
talk.
just watch it
I think we
ourselves.
did talk about that with Jamie because
Oh,
we
really?
had some pictures.
Yeah.
Johnny was up here,
John,
yeah.
our oldest, went to school with Jamie, and so I coached like 5th and 6th grade their team. Some with Ben Voss and some of those guys, Tyler Stotts and some of those guys. So we had pictures of that. So maybe we'll get some pictures of
They
you.
had a pretty good team, didn't they? Didn't
Yeah.
they win a bunch of games?
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yeah.
I think we were like 500 or something
Yeah,
like
we're
that.
just a
Yeah.
You guys were better in high school.
mediocre team.
Yeah.
The B team was solid though. John Edgerton and Nick
Yeah.
Beal.
Yeah.
Two
Twin
twin
towers.
towers over
Yeah,
there.
there's
Yep.
you're gonna have to shoot threes because you're not getting to the basket.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
No, so
So what we'll do is we'll sign off here. I'm going to give you this if I can get this out of here.
Yeah.
Token.
This
go
is
for it.
the
This is our new token.
token,
okay.
and that's you get to go to the prize table.
Oh, okay.
And
Hopefully there's something you can, yeah,
get some,
use.
you can get something for yourself and or Amber and Cameron.
Okay.
Take it home. So
Very
that's
cool.
the best we can do for pay.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for having me on.
Local guests of the original Father Son Voiceover podcast get a coupon towards the FSVP prize table and your choice of a valuable take-home gift. Congratulations and thanks for being a guest on the original Father Son Voiceover podcast.
All right. Well, welcome back. Thanks, Jared, for spending the time and coming and being interviewed, I should say, on our podcast and sharing some of your story and stuff like that. I just wanted to say, I know I talked about it in the description for last week. For some reason, our camera didn't focus real great, but the second part was a lot better. So that's why you could see Drew and Jared a little bit better. So
Who are those two guys on the couch?
why is it a mystery?
Was it not focusing?
It
It
was.
was.
You could tell who
They
you
were
guys
waiting
were.
for their
For some
voices
reason, it
to
didn't
be-
focus.
Huh.
For some reason, it didn't focus like it
Witness
normally. It was like the
protection.
first time it's ever done
That's
that.
weird.
So, we checked Jim Schrader's interview.
They agreed to be on
Pristine.
the podcast, but you couldn't show their faces.
Yeah. Yeah. But we constantly talk about what his name is and stuff.
Is it my turn?
Sure. Let it rip.
3.
That was what we had last time.
Oh, sorry. I'll
That's
look
no
again.
problem. No.
He's got plenty in that
Yeah.
category.
Oh, you bet. Here it is. When watching sports on TV, which sport? See how sports. When watching sports on TV, which? Let me stop for just a second because it just hit me something else. I don't want to go too long.
Wheel.
but
I tried to.
How many of you guys? How do you say the word CREEK? So wait, don't say it. How do you say it?
Creek.
Oh, I thought. Oh, I don't. Creek.
Creek, but I want to call it
Creek.
I want to call it what other people call it, crick.
Crick.
That's what I wanted. That's
we were
what
talking with Scott Johannick, and he uses crick. A lot of people say crick. Why did
Some
I bring
people
that
say
up?
crick in your
Just
neck.
because I was thinking about
Don't
they-
sports.
Don't they
you
say
know.
a crick in your neck?
A creek in your neck. Well,
I
the
don't
creaky
remember.
floor.
I don't remember. Crick.
I got a
You have a
crick.
crick in your neck. Anyway,
kink in
that
your
just
neck?
came into my mind because I kind of said it in the Wisconsin Yoopers kind of. So I'm going to try to straighten it out here.
Okay.
I've heard crick before.
Yeah. When watching sports on TV, which sport would you most likely want to watch? When watching sports on TV, which sport would you most likely want to watch and why? And again, it can be anything. It can be the Olympics, it can be high school, college, pro,
It's me.
amateur.
Okay, so my favorite sport is baseball, but my favorite sport to watch on TV, hockey, NHL hockey. It's really fast paced.
In particular, probably the playoff hockey, right?
That too. Yeah, I could watch baseball games. I like baseball a lot. I'm kind of a baseball nut, so I could watch that all the time. But hockey is just, to me, it's fascinating because I never played it, and so I watch those guys go really fast, and they're moving the puck while guys are trying to deck them and stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. So that's mine. I don't know.
It's kind of football on skates, and
Yeah.
Yeah, and
those
then
guys
kind of
are
the baseball
so
hand-eye
talented.
coordination
Yeah.
a little bit. They're it's yeah.
and it is playoff hockey right
Oh,
now.
it is. Yeah, my team lost. They were
Kings.
they the LA Kings. I'm a bandwagon fan.
What's the closest to us? Is it Chicago?
Minnesota Wild.
It might be.
Yeah,
it actually
Blackhawks.
might
The
be
Blackhawks
Chicago. Yeah,
probably are
Because
closer.
Minnesota's
4
in
hours
St.
away.
Paul's about 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
4 hours.
4 is bigger than 3.
Depends on if you get stuck in
Are
traffic,
they
though.
Milwaukee Admirals? Is there still a Milwaukee Admirals? They used to have the IHL, and they had, when I lived in Michigan, they had the
They still do.
Kalamazoo
Green Bay has a
K-Wings.
team.
Independent Hockey League. Is that
Green,
how it was?
Green Bay has
International Hockey
International.
League, I think
Okay.
it was.
Yeah,
The,
Detroit.
the Ramblers.
Green Bay
Ramblers, they
has,
broke even.
Green Bay has some.
Detroit Red Wings have a minor league team that's in Grand
Yeah,
Rapids, which
because
is the
because
Griffins.
Dan Breinig's son played for Green Bay, didn't he?
I don't know.
I thought he was Green. I thought the
I don't know if that was
Ramblers
the
or something.
IHL or if it was something else.
I don't know. what
There's
it
so
was
many
either.
different levels. 'Cause some of those guys come in as rookies and they're like 25 years old.
Yeah, they go to juniors, I think,
Yeah,
first,
yeah,
and then they go to
college.
college,
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
a-
like
it's a
23
reverse
years
kinda-
old.
That's the fairly normal path, but some of them,
Yeah.
like Sid the Kid, he went.
Yeah, some people are.
Or Wayne
Patrick,
Gretzky.
Patrick Kane, I think he was. Is that his name? Patrick.
I don't know.
Patrick
The
Kane?
way you said it was different, but
No,
you said Patrick Kine. That's how you
what's
said
the
it.
guy's? What's the guy's name
He
that
was
was?
thinking of Michael Kine.
He's number 88 lefty
Patrick
for
Kane. Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane. Okay, I was good. I was
He's
thinking,
no
what's
longer
the
with
name?
Chicago.
No, he's not. What was the name of
Chicago.
that? The guy. His name is Kane, but he plays for England soccer.
Don't know.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. Okay.
Isn't it
I just want to
weird-
make sure I wasn't.
Isn't it weird that, and you've heard me say this, I don't know. I mean, I like hockey. I like growing up watching the Badgers, Wisconsin Badgers. They had really good teams with Bob Johnson and Mark Sauer, I think his name was a coach. Anyway, what was I going to say? I forgot. Oh, I know. I always root for one of the older
Original
northern
teams,
teams,
yeah.
the original teams, like the Winnipeg Jets, the Montreal Canadiens, or Detroit. I don't like the Las
Expansion
Vegas
teams?
Well, just because I think that's
the
not
Florida
that's not-
Panthers.
yeah, it's not hockey in Florida. You can't play hockey in Florida.
You're
What
traditional.
was I
You're
going to
purist.
say? I can't
You're
remember. There's
hockey
a
purist.
there's a interesting stat about hockey. Is I don't know how many years it is, but it's been a while since a team from Canada has won the Lord Stanley Cup. I don't know if it's been 20 years. If it was like 2000, like maybe Montreal Canadiens was the last team that won it. I don't quote me on that, but I know it's been a while. So anyway, that was my guess. That was my guess. That was my answer.
Okay, so yours was hockey,
Yeah.
playoff, especially playoff hockey,
hockey.
Joseph.
Yeah.
If I have a lot of time on my hands, I like watching baseball. But if I don't mind watching like a football game.
So which
Especially-
one would you pick?
You know, well, this is favorites.
Does it-
This is
it
not
doesn't-
like what
if
don't you
have,
mind
if you have the
watching.
time,
It's what is your favorite.
What would you pick? What's your favorite?
Football.
Okay,
NFL
Packers.
football?
Yeah, the Packers.
Packers.
Go ahead.
That's my favorite as well. They're my favorite team overall.
You got to be kidding me.
You know, like just it's and like Badger football. Joe gets into that, gets into the recruiting. win
I don't-
something,
listen,
and then
no,
I'll
I
pay
don't have any
attention.
NIL deals going on. I don't get into
Yeah,
that. With the
yeah,
recruiting.
But then Badger basketball, I really like watching Badger basketball. That'd
More
be my
than
second.
Badger
That'd be my
football?
second.
More than Badger
yeah.
football.
Badger basketball.
So we
would be
had we
second.
got some news about the Packers. We lost our quarterback after
18 years, right?
Well, he's still
17.
alive.
Thanks.
18
He's playing
seasons
for the
he
Jets
played,
now,
yeah.
just like Brett
15.
Brett
He
Favre.
15. He played 3 seasons. He sat on the bench
Yeah.
behind me.
I was at the
But,
school today
what-
and somebody was wearing a Brett Favre
Really?
jersey. Yeah, sweet.
But what are your thoughts on that? Are you?
What are my thoughts on
Are you just a quick? Are you sad to see him go? But are you?
I
happy?
mean, it's hard to imagine that the new quarterback is going to, go back to back to back and be another Hall of Famer. So that's a little bit difficult. You always felt like with Favre or Rodgers that, no matter what, you were down late, that you maybe still had a chance, where you just never know. But, I mean, he's 40 years old. It was probably time to move on. And if you were going to be able to get some,
Still get
draft
some
capital
compensation,
for
yeah.
him, compensation, then may as well. But it'll be weird to,
Yeah.
again having another Green Bay quarterback playing elsewhere while they're still active, but they're playing for another team. That'll be weird. But
I'm excited to see Jordan Love play. I'm excited to see, even if we're not that great, I think it's going to be fun to kind of see that. And hey, who knows? Teams have won championships without a great quarterback before, so
But
we'll see what happens with our defense.
Probably more likely that now we've entered into a
Yeah.
period of time where we're going to not be very
The
good.
60s and 70s, or the 70s and 80s, and part of the 90s.
It's more likely that that's going to be the case. But it'd be fine with me if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get thrown in with Joe Bob of saying mine is more what will I put up with? I'm
True.
not that huge of a. I kind of like playoff anything. I mean, the hockey, I don't always know all the players and stuff like that, but that's exciting. And the fans, basketball, when they get to the finals, it's just, I mean, every shot seems to be important. The NCAA, I think the playoffs, the last few games, but I guess if I had to choose, even though I don't like kind of some of the direction, the politics and stuff, I probably would watch most NFL teams play if I had the time.
Can I add something to my NHL? It's fun to see guys who are playing kind of be manly. Football has been that way. It's getting a little bit more, the rules are so that it's a little less, which I understand health and stuff like that. But hockey, there's collisions, and those guys seem to be the
There's no
toughest.
flopping, is there?
There's
Yeah.
no flopping, and I like that. I appreciate that when they're kind of worried about scoring a goal, and it's probably really hard to do that. So they're not worried about flopping and doing all this extra stuff that's not part
My
of the game.
favorite with hockey is, and we've seen it a couple times, is playoff hockey, where it's an elimination game. So game 7 or something like that, and the other team is down by 1. That's a lot of fun because they then bring on more skaters
Pull
and
the
they
goalie,
just go
hit them,
like crazy, shot after shot, and that's a lot of fun. Especially
It's too
when
bad Doc
Emmerich
Emmerich isn't there still.
He
He
was a
was
lot of
great
fun
to
to-
listen to, yeah.
That's kind of fun. That's
Yeah.
the type of playoff because it's just
He was unreal too because he understood the game, but the game would be going so fast, and he would still be keeping up with it with his play-by-play. Anyway,
good.
Yeah.
Jay?
Growing up, I liked the NBA, especially the 90s and early thousands, because there wasn't flopping and there wasn't, there was just more kind of not, there were not, there wasn't all the
Just
fouls
seemed like it was
and things like that.
basketball,
It
right?
seemed like it was basketball.
Yeah.
But I'd just say the NFL now just because of that. But I don't mind watching NHL hockey. And then I do like the March Madness, especially the first weekend of March Madness.
That's a lot of fun.
That's fun to watch.
Once in a while on a Sunday afternoon, and I just don't watch TV that much, but on a Sunday afternoon, once in a while I would turn on a golf match or a baseball game that I wasn't that excited about, and you could take a little nap.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
golf more than anything. You sit there and a lot of
Jim
times
Nance
when they've
singing to
got
sleep.
shots when they're on the green, the one person will come on and talk
talking,
really quietly.
Even
That'll
though
put
they're
you to
like-
sleep.
like it's time to
Even
go
though
to
they're-
sleep now.
Even
Yeah.
though they're like 100 yards away from the person.
And it's not live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a roommate in college that liked watching on Sundays. He'd watch NASCAR, and that's kind of the same way because it's not. You don't have to keep it that loud, but just kind of the lower white noise, if you would.
Yeah.
We should can we go around and do you guys believe that NASCAR is a sport? Show of hands.
I haven't thought about it enough.
Yeah.
I think it is because they're driving at really high speeds, and their stamina, they have to gets really hot in their vehicles. So
Okay.
I'm not saying that's not a sport. I just wouldn't watch it. So anyway, I just didn't know if you guys thought it was a sport. Okay, I guess I'm the only
You're
one.
out on a
Yep.
ledge, out on a limb.
I'm on the edge.
Well, you asked if any of us thought it was a real sport. you raised your hand, the rest of us kind of passed on it. So
You did, yeah. Pass. I didn't know if you guys did.
I don't really know.
I think
haven't
it's a
thought about
sport.
it.
I was just giving, if people watch this and they say, well, hey, NASCAR's a sport. I agree with you. I
Yeah.
just don't, it's hard for me to watch because you just go in a circle. So,
The 57th edition
you guys did it.
of the original Father-Son voiceover podcast is now in the books. We want to thank Jared Brunner for spending time with us. And we want to thank you, of course, for spending time with us. We look forward, we want to thank Ryan Van Riper for letting us have him as a reverse sponsor, RVR Services, rvr.services.com. And Michelle.
Dash. You said RVR. Services.
RVR-services.com. Thank you for that. The 1855 Coffee House is our sponsor. 10% on any food and beverage down there. And we look forward to seeing what Jim Schrader has to say. Jim Schrader has to say next week on the podcast.
All right. Thanks for
Perfect.
watching.